Hey UBChefs, welcome to this week's menu. Shortly I'm going to be cooking up 10 dishes on the menu this week, showing you how to put them together. Really simple. It's basically just heating up, getting the little dressings out. Make sure you get all of your ingredients all lined up in dish order so it's easy to put together. You just need a few little trays, a little bit of rapeseed or olive oil, a few spoons, chopping board and a knife. That's it basically. Get your oven preheated, let's get ready to cook. My weekly bake course for you is these lovely smoked paprika crackers. So take them out of your tub and just spread them out on a tray. So spread them all out, get a bit of rapeseed or olive oil nicely over the top, good amount of oil as well, and then just in the oven. That's just to warm them, that's just to sort of like freshen them up, a little bit of extra crispness on that. Now what I said to you, a little bit of compressed cucumber. This is our Tzatziki, so in here we've got like a cucumber gel, we've got some lemon juice in there and lots of yogurt as well. Make sure you take your sharp knife and just carefully cut off the end of the piping bag. These are compostable as well, so at the end they can go in your compost bin when you sort of rinse them out. And then your cucumber, that's just a little bit of oil in there, tiny bit of seasoning, and then we'll just give that a little bit of a stir, all ready for our crackers coming out. And then take your mint, just some picked mint leaves in here, put them on your board and just roll them up. So roll them up like that, and then take a knife, a little bridge with your fingers so you don't cut your fingers off, and then so you keep the knife nice and flat on the board, little rocking motion, back and forth, and then you end up with that lovely little chiffonade of mint. So that's all good. So we're about ready to go. Let's get our crackers out of the oven. There they come. You can smell that really nice smoked paprika just coming off of there. So spread them out again. And then what we'll do is start going with some of our cucumber. And they've been compressed, so we sort of like vacuum pack them. But they've still got a nice little crunch to them. Really important. Crunch of that lovely fresh Tzatziki, and then we've got that fresh mint on the top, smoky cracker underneath. What a way to start the meal. So let's get that, make sure there's a bit of cucumber on each one. Then we're going to go with a little bit of mint, like so. The idea of the mint is you cut it sort of last second, and then that way when you taste it, lovely and fresh. So like that. Then let's get our Tzatziki, do a little tester on our board first of all, and then we're simply gonna just pipe over the top, and you get that lovely red cracker on the bottom shining through there. And then once we've done this, all that's left to do, you can of course serve some Tzatziki on the side, a bit more rapeseed I love on there for that colour, tiny bit of salt just on the top, and then we're ready to go. So move the crackers, nice little dish here, and then we can just balance them in there. Look at that, look at those colours, beautiful. So a few more going in. As you can see, you've got a lovely little portion of these to start with. Let's get some in there, and there we go. So that's the weekly bake to start. Smoked paprika crackers, Tzatziki, compressed cucumber, and a nice bit of mint to freshen it all up. Hope you enjoy it. First starter for you now, we've got Cornish sardines. So these have just been butterflied. Look at those lovely little sardines. We've got 3 each for you here. They've just been a little charred on the top, so lovely little smoky flavours already in there. That's going to go into the oven with our own toasted rye bread just there. So in that goes. As I said, 2 to 3 minutes. That's all that needs. And then here we've got little radish salad, which I'm going to get a little bit of my lemon dressing, give that a good stir on top of the radishes and a touch of salt. And then I've got a little salsa verde here, it's just all out of room temperature. So back in a couple of minutes and I'll show you how to put this Cornish sardines together. So I've just dressed my little radishes here with a little bit of that lemon dressing. Now I'm going to get a few on the plate, So these are some sous vide radishes that we've just slightly cooked for you, and then we've got the raw slices of radish, so some really lovely peppery notes going through there. And let's grab our sardines out. They've not been in there long at all. Bread's coming out. So what we'll do, let's take a little palette knife. Very, very careful. Of course, they're delicate as. Let's just get those sardines just kind of sitting nicely on there. There you go. Lovely. Then we'll get our bread. I'm just going to go in half. Tiny bit of rapeseed just to dress that, and also a little bit of salt on there. Let's get our bread, lovely char grilled, just at the top of the plate. And then back to our radishes. Let's start putting a few of those now around to make sure you can see all the colours working here. Again, really, really simple dish. Nice little starter. A few more radishes going on. And then we're just going to finish off with our salsa verde. So, give that a nice stir. I'm just putting a nice little dollop of that just on the side. A little wipe on the plate there. And then I'm going to put a little bit more lemon dressing. Or you can serve this on the table, completely up to you. What could be better? Butterflied sardines to start with. That lovely little smoky flavour. Toasted rye, salsa verde. Hope you enjoy it. Up next, I've got a venison pastrami for you here. So this has been smoked over applewood chips, about 4 hours. Some really succulent venison in there. And I've got a nice bit of gem lettuce. I'm just going to take my little bit of tarragon off the top of there, which we've sent it with, just because I want to warm this in the oven. So, tiny bit of oil on there, just before it goes in the oven. It's already been charred, a little bit of seasoning, in it goes. It's only going to take a couple of minutes maximum. So, let's get our pastrami taken out. Really important with the pastrami as well, but it's at room temperature. So you don't want it ice cold because you're just not going to taste all of the nice flavours. But you see there? Look at that, lovely, real succulent. You can almost see all the moisture on there. We've got a little crust of juniper and coriander. So let's start building this up. So what we want to do is a tiny bit of oil just on our pastrami, and either use your finger or just the back of a palette knife just to dress that up, make sure it's all nice and shiny, and then take your pieces of venison, just arrange them on your plate, give them a little fold. That's where you can get a nice bit of height, so it's not kind of, if it's flat it looks a bit more, you know, uninteresting. So keep on adding your nice pieces of pastrami. Again, lovely little portion of these. Lovely deep red colour. So they're all on there. Then what we're going to do is we've got this nice little shallot mayonnaise just here. Cut the end off your piping bag, and then we're going to pipe a nice little pile of that just on the side. And then we're going to take some of our shallot rings. So just some crispy shallot rings here. I'm just going to put a couple on top of the mayonnaise. I'm going to put some across my little pastrami. So they're all just arranged nicely on the top, like so. Then let's grab our lettuce out. So out that comes. It's literally just had a little warm in the oven. We'll lift that on. There we go. A nice bit of tarragon back on there. And that will just like wilt into it nicely. And then finally, let's get a bit of our tarragon dressing. And let's go, see I'm going over the lettuce, a little bit around as well. That's been made with a little tarragon vinegar, and quick clean up of the plate. And finally I'm just going to go a little bit more with my nice smoky shallot mayonnaise. Little dots just piped into that lettuce. There we go. Another really simple starter, that's the venison pastrami. You've got a little gem lettuce, lovely smoky flavours, and of course the smoked shallot mayonnaise. Hope you enjoy. Last starter for you, vegetarian starter, is this Isle of Wight tomato chawanmushi. So this is a Japanese sort of inspired set custard in here. And what we've got a tomato water, so we've hung the tomatoes up after marinating them, we've taken the juice out of them, and then we've mixed that with some miso paste, and then baked it. So it's almost like a brulee. So set custard in there. And then we've got a little selection of Isle of Wight tomatoes just here. Some of them semi-dried, some of them raw. What I'm going to do is take some of my dressing, and this is my little tomato water dressing. Make sure that is nicely mixed in there. Tiny bit of seasoning as well. You see like what a selection of tomatoes. You've got yellow in there, you've got the tiger tomatoes, the San Marzano as well. So what we'll do, we'll just start I'm just going to place these on the top, a few of them just overhanging slightly as well. And then you've got some of those semi-dried ones, don't forget. So let's keep on layering them up now. And the idea is we've got that lovely fresh tomatoes on the top, and then that rich custard underneath with that lovely umami flavour coming through. So a few more. There we go. Happy with that. Now we're going to get a bit of my dressing. In there we've got a little concasse of little yellow tomatoes. So that's all on. Then a little clean up of that bowl, the dish, sorry. Let's get that all ready onto our little serving plate. And then we've got a selection of flowers here for you. So let's pull out some of these and just start getting some of those little petals. Don't put the whole flower on. They're not as nice to eat when they're whole, but those lovely little delicate leaves. Start dressing all over. So you can really make it look really, really pretty now. Really lovely and summery. So take your time. There we go. And now I'm just going to put some of my soft herbs on the top. So I've got some dill, lovely tarragon, there you go. Really take that time, make it look lovely and delicate, lovely and placed. Final few flowers on there. And there we go. Looking happy with that. Last few herbs. There we go. Quick final bit of dressing. And what a way. Lovely light starter. Isle of Wight tomatoes. Super tasty chawanmushi in the bottom. Herbs and flowers and that tomato water dressing. First main course for you, I've got a Risotto Milanese. So here we've got a little selection of tiger prawns and squid. That's going to go into the oven for about 6 to 8 minutes, just to heat through, and that goes. And then here we've got the rice. So this rice has been cooked with a lovely stock of langoustines, tomatoes in there, saffron as well. Get all your rice in your pan, like so. And then this is a cooking liquor. Now this is really, really important because this is what we cook the rice in. And when you add this to it and heat it up, it's going to go lovely and creamy, but there's no actual cream in that. So in that goes. That's going to go on the heat. We're going to start bringing it out to a simmer. So once that comes up to a simmer, about 5 or 6 minutes on the heat, depending on how you like your rice. If you like it a little bit softer, take it to the 6. If you like it a little bit more al dente, 4. Then nice piece of bronze fennel, just here, it's just been braised. That's going to go into a pan of water, and again 4 to 5 minutes, it's not going to take any longer. And then we've got a little bit of lemon just to serve with it to squeeze over at the table. So we'll be back in a few minutes. I'll get my risotto nice and stirring now. Don't let it catch, and I'll show you how to put it together in a few minutes. Okay, so my risotto, that's been cooking for 5 minutes there. That's all ready to go. Nice warmed up bowl. And let's get our fennel out. Just getting it out using a spider. Slotted spoon, but careful because obviously that packet's nice and hot. And let's cut open our little sous vide bag. tiny bit of seasoning on the top of there. Right, then get your fish out the oven, some tiger prawns and squid, then we can start to plate. So one last stir on that risotto, stirring it makes it come lovely and creamy. So let's get all of that risotto into our bowl. Use a spatula so you can get that bowl completely clean, and then use the back of a spatula just to flatten out that risotto. So that's all flattened out. There we go. Then let's get our tiger prawns. We'll start going with those, the fennel. As you go around, a few of those prawns, a little bit of squid. There you go. And we've got our lemon to just finish off on the side. There it is. A tiny bit of rapeseed. There we go. Lovely little risotto Milanese with sauteed tiger prawns, a little bit of squid and braised fennel. This is a wood pigeon main course now. What I've sent you is the wood pigeon, which has been wrapped around a lovely bit of braised truffle potato, and then we've got serrano ham around the outside of that. What you need to do is just cut open your little sous vide bag, which has been sort of half cooked in. Empty that out onto your little tray. Keep the thyme on there. Add even more flavour when it's cooking. Tiny bit of oil on the top, like so. And that's going in the oven for about 15 to 16 minutes. So in that goes, timer on. And then your garnish, very, very simple. We've got some puff grains. This is just to go with what the pigeon will be eating really. So they're all nice crispy grains. And then I've got a whole emulsion here of vegetables. All you need to do is just pour them into the pan. In there you've got sprouted broccoli, you've got fennel, you've got carrots, green beans, peas, broad beans, whole nice selection. All that's going to happen with that is it's going to go on the heat, just going to bring it up and then just simmer it. Just simmer it, gently turning it over. Probably take about 4 or 5 minutes in the pan. So time it when your pigeon's going to come out. Remember the pigeon needs 2 minutes resting as well. And then we're going to get our veg and we're going to sort of plate the veg up nicely in the centre, slice the pigeon on top, and then the puff grains around. So I'll be back in about 16 minutes once the pigeon is cooked and also has had time to rest. Okay, let's plate our pigeon up now. So my emulsion, just turn that off. So you see, look at that, all of that lovely sauce has just thickened up nicely and it's all coating my vegetables. I've got my pigeon, that's just been resting for a couple of minutes now. So that's got the pigeon breast, it's got the braised potato in there as well with the truffle. So what we'll start doing is arrange our vegetables. I want this to look really natural, so let's get all that broccoli on first, fennel, and we'll start going with the carrots. We're going to put quite a bit of the actual emulsion on the plate afterwards, but if you just plate first of all the vegetables, you can get them looking a bit more dainty than just try and spoon it all on at once. So, lots of broad beans, peas, more carrots going on, and then when you get to the end you can kind of then just get the rest of your peas and broad beans and of course that emulsion. Dress most of it just into the centre, but you can put a little bit around the outside like so. Right, then let's get our pigeon. So just with a pigeon, nice sharp knife, slice off a tiny bit at the end, same again. That's just so you can sit it up on itself nicely. And then look, really careful cut through. Make sure you're all the way through. And there you go, look at that. Lovely, that's your braised potato in the centre, pigeon breast. I'm not going to put any extra salt on here because of that serrano ham. So let's just nestle that in there. Just make sure you move a little space for it. Just to sit on there, angle it towards your guest. Then what we'll do, let's get some of our grains. This is going to provide our texture. And look, there we go. Little piles. and a little scatter all the way around. And then finally, I'm just going to finish off. This is just for shine. A little bit of the oil all the way around. Get a palette knife and just work that into the pigeon. And there you go. That's a lovely little pigeon dish. Braised potato in the centre of it, those vegetables in the emulsion and the crispy grains. Hope you enjoy. Vegetarian main course for you now, and we've done a Fritto Misto, really summery vegetables in here. So we've got some chard, courgettes, baby corn in there, we've got a little 10-stem broccoli, green beans. They're all going to go into the oven for about 8 to 10 minutes just to crispen up. So in they go, time roll. And then here we've got courgette puree, so a lovely silky courgette puree which has been emulsified with rapeseed oil. That's just going to go onto the stove just before our vegetables come back out. And I've got a lovely salsa here, some lemon in there, courgette, rapeseed. That's just going to be room temperature, and we're going to dress that over the top of our vegetables. So we're back in about 8 minutes, and I'll show you how to put this Fritto Misto together. Okay, so ready to plate our Fritto Misto now. So I've got my puree all warmed up. Let's grab our Fritto Misto vegetables. Now before you plate this, get a little bit of seasoning just on top of the veg, and then let's go for the plating. So garnish your plate with your courgette puree, however you like really, but get lots of puree in there because it's going to really go well with all that little batter from the Fritto Misto. There we go. Then let's start layering up our vegetables. So we've got pieces of courgette there, then we can go with some of our fine beans, and here try and get a little bit of height as you go. Then we've got that lovely little crispy chard leaf going through, and keep on building. Here you can sort of like balance it as you go, so you get that lovely height. And then when you eat it, you're going to get a little different selection of vegetables each bite. So a few more on that. Then let's get rid of that. And then our lovely little fresh salsa. This is going to freshen everything up. Give it a nice little stir. You see how I'm just getting the dice all the way over, and the dressing as well. So a little bit more on there. And we're going to finish off with more dressing. There you go. Lovely, full of texture, Fritto Misto. That courgette puree on the bottom, which is nice and rich where it's been emulsified, and then that fresh salsa to finish it off. So desserts now for you. This is a cherry and pistachio clafoutis. So we've got a sweet pastry case, then it's got like a batter which we pour in with the cherries in there, some pistachios, and then it just souffles up, and then it sort of sinks back down again. So this is going to be 6 minutes in the oven, just to warm through, and there it goes. And then here we've got some poached cherries, have them out at room temperature. We've got a little pistachio creme anglaise or custard. This is just going to go on the stove. When you're nearly ready to serve, keep it stirring around as well. You don't want to let that scramble. And then here we've got these lovely little candied pistachios, which we're just going to put some on top of the tart and some around it when we serve. So back in about 5 minutes to put this dessert together. I've just been stirring my anglaise here, making sure that's all heated up, and of course making sure it doesn't catch at the bottom of the pan. Let's get our clafoutis out onto your board. Then what I suggest you do is just warm your plate slightly, plenty of custard into the centre. So that's a lovely, we've got pistachio paste in there. So just spread that out, all nice, beautiful. Then let's get our clafoutis just on the top, like so. Watch when you take it to the table, of course, because it might be a little bit wanting to move about. And then we're going to get our cherries. I'm going to get some on top, some around. They look beautiful, just floating in that lovely vibrant green on glaze. So get them around. Then let's get, as I say, let's get some of our candied pistachios, and again, some around, some on top, and there you've got a beautiful classic cherry clafoutis, not with almond though this time, this is with lovely pistachios. So I've got a clotted cream and a strawberry parfait just here for you. What you want to do, make sure this comes off of its paper, just like so, onto your serving plate. And you want to kind of have it out at least 10 minutes or so before you're going to serve it, just because it will allow the parfait to warm up a little bit. Take your strawberries, get them back into your bowl as you cut them. I'm just cutting these ones in half because they're quite large, like so. And then we've sent you a lovely little sachet of jus de fraise, or lovely little strawberry juice, which just the strawberries have been just mixed with a little bit of ice and sugar, and then just cooked very, very slowly in a bain-marie. And then we've hung up all the juice, some of the juice that comes out of the really full flavour strawberry juice. Sorry. So give them a little, you see how it gets that lovely shine. And then what we're going to do is just start placing those around top of our parfait. You can instantly smell them as well with that lovely little juice that we've just put on there. So get them all stacked. Try and give them a little bit of varied plating as you put them around, like so. A little bit of that juice just finished off over the top. There we go. And then we'll get some of our mint, as we have done before, and just a nice thin chiffonade of that. Just a lovely flavour at this time of year, especially with strawberries and clotted cream. Take some of that mint and just nicely over the top. Quite delicate, don't need too much. And then we've also sent you this lovely bit of biscotti, just to add onto the side. There you go, beautiful. Nice and simple, clotted cream strawberry parfait, that really crunchy biscotti on the side with glacé cherries going through it. Hope you enjoy this one. Finishing off this week's UBChef menu is a cheese course. So we've got a little Colston Bassett cheese straw here, little grilled figs. They're going to go in the oven for about 4 to 5 minutes, just to heat through. The figs we've blowtorched, just with a little brown sugar on there, so nice and caramelised. And then I've got a nice piece of actual Colston Bassett out here. Remember, with the cheese, make sure you take it out 10 to 15 minutes before you need it, and then it's going to warm up nicely. So take the paper off, nice little wedge, that's all ready to go. And then we've got also our cheese mousse, that's here. Take that out just before you serve it, and then you can quinette it on the top. And then I've got this lovely little aged port reduction, which is going to go on the top. Port, figs, Stilton, lovely. So back in a couple of minutes and I'll show you how to plate it up. Get your cheese straw out of the oven. That can go onto your board, and then the figs. So at this stage, what you want to do is get the cheese straw, take your piece of Stilton. I'm just going to put it just on one end, like so. Then I'm going to get one of my figs. I'm just going to put that up on the top. This fig, I'm going to just cut it down slightly, like so. And then I can get one little piece just on top and one just on the end. Little clean down of the board. And then what we'll do is we'll just carefully put that onto our serving plate, and then get a nice shaped spoon. See this one, nice and oval. Dip it in hot water, and then just go into your mousse. I'm just going to kind of curl it round with a spoon, like so. Go back, I'll have a little dip. And there we go. So just about ready to put it onto my thing that's just there. Let's just put that fig back on. And then what I'm going to do, a little rinse of my spoon. And then you've got your aged port just here. So have this out of room temperature and it's nice and syrupy. And then, see, I'm just getting it used to on the spoon. And then I'm just going to kind of, look at that. Lovely, shiny port. And this is just going to go beautiful with that Stilton. There we go. And that is it. Nice way to finish with that cheese course. Those caramelised figs. Nice little Colston Bassett 2 ways, the wedge of cheese and the mousse, and of course the little cheese straw just on the bottom.